Hiya, Deborah here. Today we're going to be playing Umineko When the Seagulls Cry, a game where a transfer of inheritance goes horribly wrong for the entire family. The stories are very obviously fictional, fantastical in nature. Any resemblance to existing individuals, organizations, locations, or instances is entirely coincidental. Again. So, you still haven't overcome your love for alcohol? The old physician let out a sigh as he removed the stethoscope. Two elderly men could be seen in a dimly lit study, which was filled with dust and a sickly sweet stench. In the corner of the room, which was much larger than what most people would call a study, was an expensive-looking bed, a man undergoing a medical examination, and a physician conducting it. There was also what appeared to be a servant watching over the whole scene.
The bottle is my friend. It's no less of a friend than you, and it stood by my side even longer than you have.
As the man bearing his chest with a stethoscope rearranged his clothes, he spoke unapologetically.
Kinzo-san, your body only appears to be well thanks to the effects of the medicine. However, if you do continue to drink such a strong spirit, the treatment will become meaningless. Trust my judgment. Refrain from drinking. Thank you, though only for the sentiment, my friend. Genji, another glass. Water it down slightly. That way Nanjo can save face. Are you quite sure?
After eyeing both the master who demanded it and the alcohol the family doctor who forbade it, Genji the old butler silently gave a slight nod and carried out his master's orders faithfully. The family doctor Nanjo let out a deep sigh once again as he watched the butler busy himself alongside the liquor cabinet. There was a smell filling up the room. This sweet, poisonous aroma felt as though it melted the heart if not the soul itself. It was the smell of that venomous green liquid that a man couldn't bear to part with.
Nanjo, you are my close friend, and we have known each other for quite a long time. I am deeply grateful for what you've done to keep me alive this long.
I have done nothing. After all, you never listened to my advice as your physician.
And you never listen when I warn you about this mistaken chess move you're about to make. It seems only fair, does it not?
Master?
Thank you. I wouldn't die if I ran out of your medicine, but I would die if I ran out of this.
Disregarding Nanjo, who had his face set in a resigned expression, Kinzo took the glass that Genji was holding out to him. Very few people would associate that venomous colour with the alcoholic beverage.
Nanjo, be honest with me. How much time do I have left?
Well now, how short must I make it to convince you to set the bottle aside? Nanjo once again let a sigh of resignation. Then he finally spoke to Kinzo as the latter swirled his glass.
You don't have long. What precisely do you mean by that?
Let us illustrate with a chess game right here. You have nearly achieved checkmate, but you have not yet cornered my king. Nanjo's gaze was directed at a side table with a massive chess set placed atop of it. Judging by the position of pieces, the game seemed to be entering its final stage. Black's rook and bishop were cutting deeply into enemy lines. White's king had already been castled and cornered so that even an amateur could see the match would reach its conclusion before too long. Every time Nanjo came to give a medical examination, both of them would make a few moves. Nanjo was hinting that Kinzo would likely fall into his eternal slumber before this game could be concluded. These were less words of physician than they were of an old friend.
Were you a normal patient, I would recommend that you write a will at this point. And what is a will, Nanjo? Handwritten instructions to the vultures on how to devour my scattered corpse.
Not a tool. As the word suggests, it's your way to record your will for later generations.
It's far more than to divide up your inheritance. Oh! And what a part of the division of the inheritance, what might I write of?
You might write of your regrets, or matters you have left unfinished.
things you want to pass down to others, or merely matters you wish to communicate. Anything you want. Things I want to pass down to others, or matters I wish to communicate. Ridiculous. Ushiromaya Kinzo, Ushiromaya Kinzo, have not one thing I would tell or leave behind. I was born with nothing, I will die with nothing. There is nothing I wish to leave to my foolish children. Even if it were the end to come today, even if it were to come right now, I would accept the fate of death without a trace of fear. I created everything, my fortune, my prestige, everything. Those were built up by me and will be lost alongside with me. There is nothing I wish to leave behind. Nothing. After I'm gone, I care not if it all goes to waste. I desire no tomb, no coffin. Those were the terms of the contract I made with the witch. When I die, everything will be lost. But it has been part of the promise since the beginning, and that's why nothing will be left behind. There is nothing I can leave behind.
After reaching a furious crescendo, Kinzo suddenly slumped over. His expression was limp and feeble, as though an evil spirit had possessed him and then left.
However, I do have one regret. I have nothing to leave behind, but there is one thing I cannot leave undone. You would do well to write it down. Of course, it'd be best if you could finish it before your time comes. However, even if the worst happens, those who come after you will carry it out to completion. You must leave behind your regrets so they can be resolved even if you are unable to do so yourself. That is the purpose of a will.
When Nanjo tried to gently pat Kinzo's shoulder, the dying man flew into a sudden rage and battered away Nanjo's hand.
It's useless. Useless. Useless! It must be done while I'm still alive. The moment of my death, my soul will be devoured by the demons of the contract and wiped out of existence. For me, there will be no peace in or another world after death. That's why everything must be completed before I go. That's why a will has no meaning for me. And even if I had a chance to write such a thing, even if I did have such a chance, I'd want to see it. I'd want to see it one more time. I want to see Beatrice's smiling face one last time. Oh, Beatrice, why have you resisted me for so long? I'll return everything you have given to me. I'm prepared to lose everything. So please, show me your smile just one last time. Beatrice, I beg you. You must be able to hear my plea. That's the kind of woman you are. I beg you, show yourself to me. You're here right now, aren't you? You're standing there, invisible, listening to every word I say, and even now you're mocking me with somewhere in this room, aren't you? Please, appear before me once more and smile. Feel free to scold me, even snatch away my life by your hand if you so desire. Don't want to die alone like this. I cannot let myself die until I've seen your smile just one more time. Ah, Beatrice, Beatrice. I offered up to you life of mine. I offer it up to you. I'm begging you, Beatrice.
The first day, October 4th, 1986. Whoa. Things sure move when the times. I can't believe we'll be able to make the trip in just 20 minutes. I couldn't help but scratch my head and marvel about how far things had come in recent years. We used to go by boat. Back then, we were all forced to endure nearly half a day of swaying back and forth over the sea before we reached Nijima. Things these days have gotten so much more convenient. Still, I've never been on a plane this small. I've flown on a huge jumbo jet before, but this will be my first experience in such a tiny one. It's gonna shake, isn't it? They say smaller boats shake more than big ones, so I guess the same will probably apply to planes. Just spare me. Don't worry, Badler-kun. It shakes much less than that boat did. Is that you, George? I'm not using the honorifics. Just saying, I'm not doing it. Don't scare me like that. You shaved 3 years off my life. Anyway, what's shaking got to do with anything? You don't think I'm actually scared of the plane shaking, or maybe falling out of the sky or something, right? Of course not, my mistake. I see you've changed a lot since we last saw you. After all, it's been 6 years since then. You're not a kid anymore. Sheesh, and here you are old enough to smoke and drink. I've got no interest in smoking, but I've always wanted to try some booze. Well, if you've got your dad's genes, I bet you can hold down your own when it comes to drinking, right? Well, I usually drink for business rather than pleasure. It's hard to do business in Japan without it. That's exactly right. That's why I never miss a chance to get in some practice. That's no good, Badler-kun. You're still a minor. Don't you know that alcohol can stunt the growth of, never mind. Come on, I'm tall enough already. In fact, it'll be easier to find clothes if I shrunk a little. I puffed out my chest proudly. Until I hit my growth spurt, my height was below average in my class. But then I grew, and before I knew it, I'd passed 180 centimeters. I guess I had all that muscle training and those shady mail-order performance-enhancing drugs to thank for that. Before then, I never dreamed I'd shoot 10 centimeters above George, who'd reached his peak height early on. Damn, I bet all my relatives be like, look how big you've grown, Battler, or something. It's all so embarrassing. I wish they'd just give me a break. Anyway, my name is Battler. Well, it's pretty damn weird, don't you think? I gotta wonder what my parents were thinking when they named me that. I've never met anyone who could read it right the first time. I usually get called Center. Sorry, but that's not even close. My name is written like this. Can you read it? The first part is my family name, Ushiro Maya. That's fairly plausible Japanese pronunciation so far. The problem is my given name. That is made up of characters for flight and person, and is pronounced Battler. Put it all together and you get Ushiro Maya Battler. Pretty crazy, right? Crazy enough that my parents tried to call me that, but it's even more crazy that some government worker let me make it official. Both groups are on top of my must-kill list. Anyway, this is one of my cousins. His name is pronounced Ushiro Maya George. He's 5 years older than me, so he must be turning 23 this year. Since the Ushiro Maya cousins consist of 2 boys and 2 girls, I end up playing with George all the time. And because I've always thought him as a big brother, I still call him Anarchy today. Whoa, Battler! Look how big you've grown. You know what they say, leave a boy 3 days and you'll hardly recognize him. It must be in his blood. Rudolph wasn't that tall in his early till his high school years. Perhaps people end up taller and their growth spurts come late. No, it's nothing special. A real man needs to be tough on the inside too. Exactly. Battler here knows how it works. Real men win or lose based on what they've got inside. Can't even keep up your training and discipline. You've got to do that. Wait very attentively for the perfect moment and strike. Now, I never even imagined that I'd be in company president, but I today, master of my own domain. Yep, to think I've come this far after starting out penniless and ruined. This stout, plump old guy, George's dad, Uncle Hideyoshi. He's the husband of Dad's older sister. In other words, we're not blood related. He's nice to children and sociable all the time, and even quick to give out some spending money to us kids. Simply put, he's an awesome uncle. He speaks in an old and very unnoticeable Kansai dialect, but is actually a natural-born Kanto man. Oh, he's got an accent? I'll give him something. Apparently, impressions are everything in business world, so speaking in a different style other than people is an act that makes them stick out more. However, I hear he gets embarrassed when talking with an image of a real Kansai person, so he switches back to standard Japanese. I don't really get it, but he's an interesting person. If only you weren't so quick to brag about your life story. That's enough for now, I think. I'm sure Battler's getting tired of it, aren't you? Not at all. Nothing wrong with that. I think it's pretty cool for a man to have some stories he can brag about. I don't have anything like that at all. Oh really? I'd imagine a man with your looks would leave girls crying left and right. I can't believe you have nothing to brag about. What? You're joking, right? Of course, nothing weird like that ever happened to me. Heck, I wish it would. Come on, you aren't fooling anyone. You must tell your aunt all about it later. After all, nothing of the sort ever happens to George. This is George's mother, Aunt Eva. She's my dad's older sister. She and Uncle Hideyoshi are a pair of jokers, and they've always teased me back as far as I can remember. This sometimes made them a bit hard to get along with when I was small. Well, I guess the events of the last 30 seconds prove they can still be hard to get along with. Even though George's family is interesting and fun, and they seem to get along just fine. Sheesh, that's pretty much the total opposite of my family. Battler-kun, have you seen Rudolph-san? Huh? He headed off to the bathroom a while ago. Is he not back yet? He may be a poor geezer dropped dead. That's no way to talk about your own father. Still, it's not the first time he's taken so long in the bathroom. Yeah, the guy's always been that way. Does he really have to take a magazine every time he needs to take a dump? And what on earth is he doing with us in those particular magazines? Oh, you don't need to worry about it at all. Since we've been together, I don't do that on his own. Oh, I'll have to get the juicy details later. Sounds like Dad's got his balls in an iron grip. You know exactly what happened with a man if I didn't keep a tight grip, don't you? No kidding. You're the only one capable of reining in that old bastard. As his son, I'm more than happy to let you take over. Leave it all to me. After all, it's my specialty. This woman is my father's wife. Her name is Ushiro Maya Kire. As you can probably tell from our conversation, she's not my real mother. She's basically my stepmother. My real mum's died 6 years ago, and Kire is the woman Dad married afterwards. It's understandable for someone my age. I could never bring myself to call his new wife Mom. And I doubt she feels using the same word son on his massive kid who is no relation to her at all. We aren't little kids. We know there's nothing to be gained by fighting, so we decided we wouldn't force ourselves to pretend that we're family. We decided to act a bit more frank with her, acting though she were a friendly neighbour instead. It's much easier to keep a little distance instead of forcing yourself to act close and making each other uncomfortable. Kiri is being very open about all this, and thanks to that I've been able to get along pretty well. Just then we were bad-mouthing Dad about being in the bathroom. The man himself came back, wiping his hands with a handkerchief. Battler! Yeah, what's up, Dad? Ah! Don't pinch my hair, God! So you've been talking trash about me with Mom again, haven't you? What makes it so hard to show a little respect to your father, hmm? Ah, stop! Damn it, it hurts. Can't you just stretch my hair all you want, but it's not gonna make... I'm not gonna be able to fly. It hurts! Come on! Up, up, down, down, left, right. Now say, Father, please forgive me for being so rude. Like hell I will. Go find yourself some members-only store if you want it that much. Go! This old bastard is my dad. Think I'm pretty tall myself, but Dad's just about as tall as I am. It's no surprise Aunt Eva started talking about Dad's blood when she saw my height. By the way, my height isn't the only thing I've got from him. It seems having weird names runs in the family. Dad's full name is written like this. You can't read it, can you? Come on, it's just that. Anyway, this guy, his name is pronounced Rudolph. He must hate Grandfather giving him such giving him that name. Still, there's no reason to pass that weird naming tradition on to me. As the old bastard twisted my ear all over the place, Aunt Eva snuck up behind him and grabbed his ear. Rudolph, you should know better than to physically abuse your son.
God, that hurts.
The scene perfectly illustrated the relationship between the prankster younger brother and the older sister who could deal with punishment and to him despite his size. I think that's good enough for now, Eva. I'll make sure to stretch out his ear later on. Oh, my apologies. I must leave some pulling for you to do, Kira. Rudolph, make sure Kira gives you a lot and lots of punishment later on, okay?
You're odd to talk. Abusing a little brother like that. Hideyoshi, I'd like to thank you very much for picking her up. If you hadn't been so generous to kill the unsold at the store, you have my gratitude and apologies. What? Who are you calling unsold?
After taking 3 steps back, Aunt Eva unleashed one of her beautiful high reverse roundhouse kicks, which stopped just centimeters away from the tip of Dad's nose. After starting out Tai Chi Chuan for her figure, Aunt Eva then developed an interest in Chinese martial arts. After that she went through karate, taekwondo, capoeira, and what is it she's learning now again? Well, anyway, they say a woman's weapons are her lower body, and that's definitely true for Eva.
Rudolph, you know a single direct blow to the side of the head would knock you unconscious. Not so long ago, I accidentally connected in a practice match to my opponent without cold. What a pain. I'm so sorry she can't help walking like a freak.
Dad, completely unfazed, shrugging and smiling ironically at Uncle Hideyoshi.
I know about a brother or sister myself. So, when you see two bickering with each other, it makes me feel warm and fuzzy inside. It must be nice to have a big family.
Oh, and why not consider making a little brother for George? He's already a fine adult who's about to go on his own, so it might be a good time to have another child.
A little sympathy for the new kid. After the pain and suffering he's had to live through, I'm surprised even George turned out as well as he did, being born from this sinister sister of mine. And what an awesome kid he is. Please share him that blockhead of a son someday, will ya?
That's not at all how it happened. It's thanks to Eva's proper rearing that George became a kind and gentle kid as he is now. Isn't that right? Oh, come on, you think so? Our George still has a long way to go. And by the way, how's your little Angie doing? I heard she's still vomiting.
Oh, that's right. And I was hoping to finally see her face after such a long time. Is she okay?
You guys is a cold with the seasons change. She's very frail. I didn't want to bring her along, but decided to have a family look after her this time.
I think that's a wise move. She'll a lot faster if she stays away from that venomous head family household. A child's help is more important than not out of convenience, don't you think?
I know some great medicine for vomiting and colds like that. When we get back home, I'll send you some right away, so let her try some.
Oh, that was the wrong voices, oh well.
Thank you very much, Hideyoshi. I'm always in your debt. And one of the conversation suddenly veered off in that direction. We kids didn't have a chance of butting in. For now, we're just happy that Aunt Eva gave Dad his just desserts for tugging my ear. I was still waiting for the weather report. George pointed at the counter, but checking weather sign was still stuck next to the departure time for the flight we scheduled to board. According to him, smaller planes were more subject to winds and other effects of the weather, and it's not all common for flights to be delayed because of that. Wait a second, we are totally sure it's not going to shake, right? From downhill on the ground it looks cloudy, not windy. Well, I guess there's a difference up there when the planes fly. The weather's a bit uncertain today. Aunt Eva looked at the TV in the lounge. The weather forecast was being broadcasted, informing that a typhoon was approaching the Kanto region.
A typhoon again. Guess there's no helping it. The annual family conference being held in October. Couldn't have chosen a better season.
I agree. I've always hoped to go sometime around the Obon Festival in mid-August. In that case, why don't you suggest it to father and sister during the conference?
Very funny. Why don't you try it yourself? Our brother would never listen to anything I suggested. No way. Doesn't really bother me that much to have it in October. I was saying you might want to close it since you hate typhoons so much. I only said typhoons always come around this time of year. You're the one who said you wanted to move it to October Festival, the Oban Festival, right? Well, you said it too last year. Didn't you say it'd be easier to fit into your schedule during the Oban Festival? I never said anything like that. Oh, yes, you did. I certainly wouldn't forget something like that. No, didn't. You're the one saying it all the time. Oh, didn't you know? Stopping to kick just a hair's breadth away from impact is a very high-level technique. Sheesh, woman. You shouldn't spread their legs like that. Dad and Aunt Eva's argument looked no different from a couple of brats quarrelling. Even though they're so usually well-behaved like normal parents, they turn right back into kids the moment they meet their siblings at these family conferences. The other one looks like a real adult, analysing it all calmly. I would never turn out like that old bastard. I'd much rather end up with an intellectual adult like you. Like me? Oh, I still have a long way to go. I still have very little experience when it comes out there in the real world, and need to work on becoming more confident and sociable. I think you've far surpassed me in all of that on both counts, Battler. I'm sure you'll outstrip me faster enough when you become an adult. George scratched his head and laughed as he was trying to hide his embarrassment. Of course, he was just being humble. And he entered a university and became an apprentice at Uncle Hideyoshi's company at the same time, studying both academics to be able to become a proper business emperor in parallel. Then, right after graduating, he got into Uncle Hideyoshi's company at his father's aid. Piling up a lot of real-life experience, he devoted himself zealously to his work. His dream of one day he standing on his own and building up his own kingdom. He's the real paragon of a man, sparing no effort as he strives towards his goal. It's not like it's exaggeration, but I really respect him. And then there's me. I'm nothing like him. I'm living my happy-go-lucky, idle high school life to the max. I have no dreams for the future. I just want to sit back, stay cool, and let the money flow in, but of course that could never happen. When he was my age, he had already informed an impressive objective of starting devoting himself towards studying to that goal, so I guess I can't compare at all. My dad just says, sure, you could study at my company if you like cleaning toilets. Damn, I'm not going to be in his debt with that old bastard. I'll find my own self a way. If only willpower was what it took to become an adult. Should I go on one of those self-searching journeys that are all the rage these days? Well, it's not like I mooch off my parents for that kind of money. Right then, Uncle Hideyoshi shouted out loudly. He's a really nice person on the whole, but he does have a problem controlling the volume of his voice. He looked over and saw he was greeting Aunt Rosa, who had just came late. Oh, it wasn't Rosa. Maria, long time no see. Long time no see? Ooh. Maria, shouldn't it be good to see you again? Greet your uncle properly. It's good to see you again. There you go. Well said. I brought some candy as a reward. Oh, where'd I put it? Rosa, it's good to see you again. It's good to see you too, Maria. It's been too long, Kirei Hideyoshi. And, oh my, Battler? Look how big you've gotten. Come on. It's embarrassing hearing for every person I meet. Hey, Rosa, you're late. If the plane was on time, you'd barely have made it. I'm sorry, I had some trouble making our train connection. We are waiting on the... Oh, sir, are we waiting on the weather again? Don't complain. I much prefer the 30-minute plane trip to spending 6 hours bouncing on a boat. Even if you keep waiting here for an hour, it's much faster overall. Maria's gotten huge too. So, how tall are you now? So, how tall am I now? Maria parroted Uncle Hideyoshi's question and looked up at her mother. I guess she doesn't remember her own height. She's probably right in the middle of a growth spurt, so her height must change every month. Give it a few more years and she'll suddenly start looking feminine. Ooh, just how tall were you last time you got measured? You keep getting bigger and bigger, don't you? Right? I think she's grown a lot since last year. Let's see, she turned 9 years old this year, didn't she? 9 years old? Ooh. That's right, you're 9 years old now. Glad to see you're doing well too, Maria. Up you go. I guess you've gotten a bit heavy to play aeroplane with. George, what a rude thing to say to a lady. Yeah, I'll do it. Up you go.
Ooh. I went to lift up in his place. Maria stifled defensively, staring suspiciously at my face.
That's right.
Last time we met Maria, it was 6 years ago and she was only 3 years old.
Of course she doesn't remember my face. Maria, don't you remember? That's Battler. Used to play together, remember?
Ooh.
No surprise, I guess. The last time she met Battler, she was only 3. You don't keep memories of that age.
She must know everyone's face apart from mine because she meets them every year. But I haven't made contact with the Ishiro Maya family for about 6 years now. So it's no surprise that this 9-year-old girl doesn't have any memories of me. I could barely remember her being a 3-year-old crybaby.
Maria, that's Battler. Rudolph's son, understand?
The brother's son is? The brother is the son? Ooh.
That sound effect was probably a brain going in overload of that complicated explanation. I guess phrasing it, that was a bit confusing.
Leone is the title you'd use to refer to an actual older brother, so it can be a friendly honor effect for a boy who's only a bit older than you. Just like Ne or One is what's a big sister.
Maria, this is Battler. He's your cousin, like me.
Like George? Battler? Cousin? Ooh.
That's right, you got it.
It's part of him which makes we really look up to him. For someone who isn't married, he's great at dealing with kids. I'm sure he'll be an indulgent father in the future. Battler Onisha? Ria looked straight at me with a questioning expression as though she were asking whether it was okay to call me that.
Yep, that's me, Battler. Nice to meet you, Maria.
Ooh, Battler.
Maria, you mustn't talk to him like that. Call him Battler. It's alright, Aunt Rose, so I don't sweat the small stuff. Hey, Maria, we're close enough that we don't need honorifics, right?
Battler, Battler, Battler! Ooh.
Right, Maria. Ooh.
We horsed around for a while to make up the 6 years gap in our friendship. She probably still thinks me nothing more than a big new friend, but it'll probably work out if we get to know each other again. But I'm surprised. She's just the way I remembered her being 6 years ago. See, people don't change that much after all. I'm a bit happy, but she's still pure, innocent girl I remember. Her name is written like this. Of course, this is pronounced Maria. The third character looks like a cross, which is pretty cool. Her feelings don't really show on her face, so it can be a bit difficult to know what she's thinking, but that's just how she looks on the outside. On the inside, she's a sweet, normal girl. And this is Maria's mother, Aunt Rosa. She's my dad's younger sister. Rosa was written like this. Here's a name that's totally not Japanese. Sorry to say it, but her name is almost as ridiculous as Dad's. I've got to respect her for not ending up as screwed as he is. When I think about it, the names in my family sound foreign. That's why is grandfather so obsessed with that? Because of him, even we grandchildren have to put up with his weird naming sense. It's even more annoying since grandfather's own name is perfectly normal. Anyway, there's one more thing about Aunt Rosa that's a relief compared to your family members. The old bastard and Aunt Reba have this annoying urge to tease and mock people all the time, but even though she says shares the same blood, Aunt Rosa isn't like that at all. She is the most common sense of all the siblings. Like Uncle Hideyoshi, she's kind aunt is always on the kid's side. However, possibly because she's more strict as a parent, she's not liberal in handling out and spending money like Uncle Hideyoshi. Okay, now the entire group of family members were about to board the plane. At that moment, though, it had waited for us to arrive, an announcement rang throughout the lobby.
Our apologies for the delay. Boarding will now commence for flight 201 to Nijima. We ask the passengers of the plane form 2 lines in the front of the counter. Please, behind the white line. Brother, you haven't gone through the boarding procedures, have you, right? Hurry up. Mia, come on. Ooh. We had gone through the metal detector before going out on the runway. A small plane, it wasn't as massive as an international flight, but it's still a plane. A staff member holding a metal detector checked us all. Once all of us had cleared the check, we followed the staff out onto the runway. Come to think of it, everyone here is the Umineko family. It's like it's a reserved charter flight or something. Our group stopped in front of the entrance of the airplane. Then our guide turned and spoke, looking down on the passengers as he did. Boarding will now commence. They call up the names from the passenger list. Please take your seats in the order, starting from the front row right side and going to the right to left, then onto the next row. I will now begin feeding a passenger list. Umineko Hideyoshi. I'm first. Right here. By the way, do you have some candy, Eva? I've been looking all over for some, but I can't find any. Umineko Eva. They're in my handbag. I'll give you one when we're inside the plane. I heard the candies are a good way to protect your ears from hurting with some variation in atmospheric pressure while landing or taking off. That's probably what they're talking about. Hope I get a window seat. Don't worry. There aren't any other kinds of seats. As George said, there are apparently only 2 lines of seats, so this is what a small plane is like. We are totally sure it's not going to shake, right? Umineko George. Right here. Don't worry, Battler. It won't shake too much. Umineko Battler. What do you mean, not too much? You can swim if you fall off a boat, but if the plane crashes, you're screwed, right? We'll get our own parachutes in our seats, don't we? Wait, don't we? Umineko Rudolph. Come on, Battler, stop standing there with slack jawed and get in. Dad, stop pushing me. We don't get parachutes. Umineko Kira. Oh, you two stop fooling around. Let's move on in. Kira, don't push me. The blockhead isn't moving. Umineko Maria.
Let's move in.
Umineko Rosa Sam. Maria, be quiet. This is your pilot, Kawabata. We'd like to thank you for taking New Tokyo Aviation Flight 201 today. We estimate the flight to Nijima Airport will take around 20 minutes. We are receiving reports of atmospheric turbulence. There may be some shaking of the aircraft, so we ask you do not unfasten your seatbelts after takeoff. Hey, did you have a guy who told me to wear seatbelts? In the jumbo jet, they let you undo them after takeoff, right? So it's going to shake so much we can't take them off? Damn it, you tricked me. It's going to shake after all. Where are the parachutes? I knew I shouldn't have taken the boat. The Legend of the Golden Witch.